You are in a rut financially and mentally because of your meal planning, so give it up already. Meal sequencing is your answer. Because once you have one smart base recipe and a meal sequence that allows you to change it into 5 completely different meals, you'll never go back to the old what's for dinner panic spiral again. Honestly, the smartest thing I've ever done for dinner is to stop starting from scratch. And I can guarantee you that this August meal plan has dinners that your family will actually eat. And I mean picky kids, allergy friendly, keto, paleo, dairy free, you name it. Along with way more adaptability than any box meal kit has ever offered. Is it possible that this meal plan will make you feel like a dinner goddess who finally cracked the code? Sure will. But just remember, it solves dinner, not life problems. But it will stop you from rage quitting your kitchen, so there's that. Now, if you're new here, let me just say right at the start, every single month, I share what's actually happening in my kitchen. Pretty much in real time. And these are the exact meal sequences that I use in my real life. Because just like you, I'm working full time, I'm caring for a family, I'm canning half the garden, and I still need to get dinner on the table without losing my mind or blowing half the grocery budget. So sorry, it's not a cute content idea, but it is something I've been doing for years. And the folks that get my free grocery guide or the Dinner's Done dispatch know that this is the smart way to cook when your days are full and your brain is fried. So you want to know what we're about to be cooking? Would you believe that one base recipe is about to turn into a taco night your kids will inhale, a skillet dinner that feels like a weeknight win, a hearty soup that hits even in the heat, oh, and then there's the picnic ready pasta salad remix, and a creamy comfort meal that finishes off the sequence like a round of applause. And the best part, your family will never feel like they're eating the same thing on repeat. But you know that you'll be leveraging the same thing that you made the night before. High five, girl. Because yes, these are technically made from scratch meals, but only on the first night. After that, we are building on what's already done. Look, this is smart from scratch cooking. It's Grandma 2.0, okay? Because life is life in me right now, and I have no intentions of being in the kitchen all day. And by the way, this is not my system. It just works with what's true, not trendy about kitchen economics. And the first is that we're meal planning around what's in season and abundant. We're also not stitching together 6 different cookbooks that require ingredients that you'll use once and then forget about. And when it comes to the fresh produce ingredients that we're going to use, you're going to see these items on your sales flyer advertised as being on sale. But let's be real, it's only on sale because it's in season and the stores are swimming in it. And that's when you should be buying it. It's cheaper, it's fresher, and it's not marked up like sad winter strawberries flown in from 3,000 miles away. Okay, I can see we're tracking, so keep your eyes locked in right here. We're going to take that seasonal produce and pair it with some pantry staples. Now you will need a no-nonsense spice cabinet, and boom, your grocery list just got shorter. But your meals got better and your wallet got a break. Now, if that's not enough to convince you, don't worry, because the rest of this video is me basically giving you live proof. You are going to see exactly how I cook every dinner we'll eat this week using this one base recipe. And as I cook, I'll walk you through some variations that you can adapt so that you can feed the Smurfs at your house. You're also going to get the free download to help you kickstart this system in your own kitchen, because it's not about me showing off. I want you to do this too. So watch along, pause when you need to, swap out ingredients. This is your dinner plan. And by the end of this video, you're going to look back and say, oh wow, she really did do exactly what she said she would. All right, so before we even touch the stove, we've got to set the stage. Step 1 in this entire sequence is I organize my fridge bins. Yes, it may seem like a small thing, but I'm telling you, this is where the magic starts. You know how I feel about my fridge bins. And oh, if you're watching this in real time, go ahead and grab your fridge bins and start sorting along with me. And if you're realizing that you're missing an ingredient or there's a gap somewhere, that's actually perfect. Because that's actually your cue to make a short, informed grocery list of what you need to get instead of a last-minute 6 p.m. sprint and flip-flops through the store with regret. By now, y'all know that I love these fridge bins because they are like my visual plan. I'm not kidding. These bins are the reason why I feel like dinner is already halfway done. Because when I open up my fridge after a long day at work and I'm running on whatever is left in the tank, I don't have to think because my ingredients are going to be grouped, labeled, and ready to go. It is truly like a meal plan with built-in autopilot. Don't sleep on this. Because honestly, this is what I've learned. Not being organized in your kitchen isn't like having a messy sock drawer. One, nobody sees that, nobody cares. But if your fridge is a chaotic mystery box, that will cost you time, money, and sanity. Like when you can't see that something's about to expire, or you forgot about that one ingredient you swore you had. That's how you end up with double grocery runs, wasted food, and meals that just never get made. Darling, I'm not preaching at you. I'm saying that in full transparency of where I used to be too. So for me, after I get home from the store, and like this is the moment that I'm creating for you now, I take just a couple of minutes, that's all this is, to load up my fridge bins. And then sometimes I'll go ahead and cook the base recipe right away, as you've seen me do before, or other times I'll come back and do it the next day. So I am telling you, having these bins packed and ready, that is my peace. Now, the rest of my fridge can still be a little wild, but these bins are sacred. And listen, I just call it doing the hunting and the pecking when you have the brain power for it, because some days when I come home, I don't. I just have to pet my dog and sit down for a little bit, or just walk out to the deck and smell some lavender. And those of y'all who just chuckled know what I mean, because the honest truth is that when I come to cook, like I just want calm. I want clarity. Because listen, I just want to open the fridge and feel like future me has set me up for success. Honey, right now I'm giving you Saturday energy, but Cassandra at 6 p.m. on a Wednesday is a little different. And let me tell you, now that I use fridge bins, I don't cook any other way, and I have been on the record for this since the very beginning. Now, before you ask, these particular bins, I don't even remember the brand. I grabbed them at either TJ Maxx, Home Goods, or Ross. They're all right there in the same shopping center. And honestly, I was probably just running errands and saw a good deal. So sorry, I don't have a link, but here's basically the gist. First, I would recommend getting something that is clear so that you can automatically just like look in and see what you have. And then ideally you want something with handles, which makes grabbing them really easy. And then also something that is wipeable, because sauce happens. But then more importantly, it needs to be the right size for your fridge and for your meal quantities. And I want to say that maybe I either got these in like the kitchen section, or maybe it was even like the bathroom or toiletry section too. So check there. When it comes to these bins, there is no perfect brand. So just get something that is functional and sturdy. If it fits and it makes your week easier, you've won. All right, grab meal bin 1. And this bin is going to house our base recipe and meal 1. So our base recipe starts with an animal protein, and this is going to be all of the meat that me, my husband, and my brother who's visiting for the week will be eating. It's about 4.5 pounds. And if you don't have meat, no problem. You can still go with a savory mix of caramelized mushrooms, shredded carrots, and white beans. It's still going to be packed with protein and summer herb goodness. Oh, you may have noticed that I am not sticking just with one particular meat. So I actually mix my meat all the time. I have a little bit of ground beef, ground chicken, and ground turkey, because it is a cost saver and it actually helps to balance out the flavor. And when you do that, even nutritionally, it helps to round things out. I mean, you can kind of think of it as building a stronger team by blending strengths. So beef gives you the rich iron and the B12 boost, especially good if you feel a little low energy or foggy. And then chicken is a leaner protein. It's full of niacin and selenium, which is great for metabolism and immune health. And then turkey brings zinc and B6 to the mix, which helps with everything from brain function to skin repair. All right, friends, and in case you're wondering, I am just putting the meat that I'm using, especially because I am not cooking my base recipe today. I'm going to cook it tomorrow. But I like to just keep it separate from the other non-meat ingredients that I'm going to use. So I'm just using, what I have already. So this is just a lunchbox, that I can easily wipe out, but it keeps everything kind of contained. So next up, you're going to want some onions. And remember, when you're choosing onions at the store, that you want to pick ones that feel really firm and heavy with papery skin. Now, nutritionally, onions are like your body's natural tune-up. They are loaded with sulfur and compounds that help your liver filter out junk. I kind of like to think of them as like a mechanic that helps keep the engine or your body clean. You're also going to want some zucchini, ensuring that you have zucchini that has glossy skin, and typically you want to go with medium size and make sure that you aren't getting any soft spots. So a cool thing about zucchini is that this is actually 95% water. So when the temperature outside is also 95 degrees and you feel like a baked potato, this stuff rehydrates you truly from the inside out. Oh, plus zucchini actually has vitamin C and manganese, which helps with collagen repair and energy production. Better makes it better. Now, this is optional, but it will add creaminess and flavor. And then I tend to have goat cheese too, which tends to be a little bit easier to digest for some folks than cow's milk, but you can absolutely skip it entirely if you have dairy-free needs. And of course, it wouldn't be summer without folding in some tomatoes. You want to go for firm but slightly tender tomatoes, and heavier ones tend to be a bit juicier. And remember that tomatoes are full of lycopene, which helps protect your skin from sun damage. And then next up, you're either going to need some tzatziki or a garlic yogurt sauce. And this is just the leftover yogurt from a larger container than I normally get from Aldi. And so I'm going to go ahead and use the rest of this up this week, but we'll put that in the bin too. All right, so totally optional are some olives, but they are going to give you healthy fats and vitamin E, which is great for brain and heart health. And then also totally optional are cucumbers, but it's the summertime and I'm drowning in them from my friends just giving them to me or Miss Fanny from her garden. So this is totally cool, but like cucumbers are like nature's electrolyte sticks. Yeah, so like they are super hydrating and they are packed with silica and potassium, which makes them perfect for replenishing after a hot summer day. So boom, this is our base and meal bin 1. All right, friends. So meal bin 2 is where we're going to double down on comfort and flavor without heating up the whole kitchen. And so we're going to put the ingredients for meals 2 and 3 in here. And the first is going to be like this garden skillet pasta. And then the second is going to be this crock pot peachy meatball situation. Again, I'm not a food blogger, so I'll think of a fancy little name on the back end, but that's what I call things when I'm cooking. And yes, the house is going to smell amazing. So I know that I'm going to roll in some of the zucchini from the base recipe into these meals as well. So sometimes I just like to go ahead and have containers that are set aside and cleaned in my bin. So I'll save that for when we go ahead and prep the zucchini. And then you're going to need some tomato paste. Now, 1 should be enough. But again, next week, I am likely making a very similar meal sequence situation. And so I'm just going to go ahead and add 2. And if I don't use it, it's already in the bin for next week. And then next up, you're going to need some pasta. It doesn't matter which type. You can use elbow, spaghetti. This is a cavatappi. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I love these. I mean, the sauce just sticks to them so well. So I'm adding those. And then you're going to need some cream cheese or sour cream, and that's going to give this dish a creamy, comforting texture. And cream cheese also brings the calcium, a little bit of protein, which will help you feel fuller longer. All right, next you're going to want some grated cheese. You can either use cheddar or Parmesan. And cheese is going to bring vitamin A, K2, and calcium, especially from hard cheeses like Parmesan. And then this is also going to add that richness and salt that balances out the tomatoes and the vegetables. Yeah, and this is it for meal 2. Now, you are going to need some herbs. Of course, you can use dried. I'm going to be using fresh just because I have them in the garden. It's officially peach season, baby. And guess what's also going to be my canning project for this week? Yep, peaches. So we're going to go ahead and add those to the bin. What says summer more, tomatoes or peaches? I'm kind of at a crossroads. Anywho, I like to think of peaches as Gatorade, but gourmet. They are actually high in vitamin C, vitamin A, and fiber, and they are excellent for skin repair, digestion, and hydration. Okay, I hope you can see this, but you want to choose peaches that have like a slight give. Yeah, you can see that little indentation. And then that peachy smell. And you want to store them at room temperature until they're ripe and then put them in the fridge. You're also going to need some balsamic vinegar, which is going to add depth and tang. And balsamic vinegar contains these things called polyphenols, which supports your digestion and regulates your blood sugar. Next up, you're going to need some broth. You can use chicken or veggie. This is actually corn cob stock because that's what I have been. It seems like I have been canning corn for weeks now. I mean, I really truly have because I love corn. But yeah, you're going to need some broth. Oh, and one thing that I recently found out is that broth not only includes collagen, but also electrolytes. Of course, it's going to pump up a little bit of the protein, but yeah, just another reason why I love cooking with broth. And then lastly, bell peppers, which a lot of y'all are going to be able to pull right out of your garden. Mine are growing. They're going to be a little bit smaller than this, but bell peppers are vitamin C powerhouses, and they actually contain more vitamin C than oranges. Plus, they are full of beta carotene, and you want to store these in your fridge crisper drawer. And boom, meal bin 2 is done. Now you are going to need some seasonings and then a sweetener of your choice like honey or maple syrup. But yeah, this is it. And just like that, we are bringing in the rear. Grab your third meal bin. And this might be my favorite bin of the meal sequence because these meals look fancy, but they're absolutely fridge friendly. All right, so you're going to need a few more peaches. And as a reminder, I'm going to make this work because this is what I am canning. So if I have leftover peaches from the previous meal bin, they're going to come into here. And then once I pair them with this, if I use them all, great. If I don't, they're going to get canned anyways, right? So like everything has a plan as to where it's going. You're also going to need a red onion, which is an excellent source of quercetin for allergy support, especially this time of year and a natural detox. And yes, onions and peaches works because you need the contrast that the onions will provide to balance out the sweetness from the peaches. All right, y'all, so this is just a clean container I'm going to add to the bin because we're going to roll over the yellow squash or the zucchini also for these recipes. We're also going to use some black beans to stretch this meal. And in addition to just tasting great, black beans are an excellent source of folate and magnesium, which are two nutrients that support your energy and your mood. Then we're going to add a little bit of sour cream for some healthy fats. And then I've got some lettuce, but you could also use cabbage because we're going to make like lettuce or cabbage cups. And as a reminder, you want to store it in like cloth or linen, something like this, especially if you're not going to eat this meal right away, just because it's going to draw out that moisture and it's going to last so much longer. And then a little bit of lime. You can use fresh or bottled. And then for this recipe, I'm pretty sure that we're finished. We're just going to need herbs and then a little apple cider vinegar. All right, let's move on to the final meal. You're going to need some kale. We're going to store it the same. This is a great source of iron, magnesium, and chlorophyll. We may need a few more cherry tomatoes. And then totally optional is going to be pita bread, which I keep like tortillas, pita bread, that kind of thing. I buy them in bulk, then I just break them down like this on hand. And that's just going to complete the meal and maybe make it feel a little bit more satisfying. One more thing, this last meal is also going to be the repository for all the little bits and bobs that you may have left. And there we have it. You are more than halfway there to winning the week. This grocery list didn't tire you out. It's likely things that you already have or are growing in your garden. And like I mentioned, they're already on sale. Plus, all of these meals are make ahead friendly, hot or cold friendly, and they are perfect for lunch boxes too. When it's hot like it is now, you absolutely want meals that are hydrating, but also antioxidant rich. But you also don't want meals that weigh you down. And this variety is not just feeding your family, it is nourishing them. Now, don't overthink this part. Just get everything grouped in the bins and ready to go. And that way, when 6 p.m. hits and your energy is gone, your ingredients are staring at you like, ma'am, we're ready to report for duty. Now tell me this, wouldn't you rather have this staring at you in the fridge than what you may have going on right now? All right, you're about to be wildly efficient while still putting delicious meals on the table. Go ahead and fill your sink up with some hot soapy water. Okay, I need you to go ahead and grab meal bin 1. And then grab a large bowl. And then take out your bag of meat. And we're going to go ahead and start to open things up and add our meat to the bowl. And here's our ground turkey. And now we're adding the ground chicken. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead now and toss this in the freezer because by the time I continue to add all of the fixings that I have here, I can stretch this even more. Now, for those of y'all that have been following along with my meal sequences this summer, you know that this is the most amount of meat that I have cooked with throughout the week. I am buying my meat, but I'm mostly, canning it. But one thing I particularly like about a meal sequence is that you can kind of see what your portions just kind of are from the very beginning. And I neither shy away from mixing my meat or folding in, vegetables to kind of stretch things because it really just is a way to add a more robust nutrient profile. So this is like a garden party in a bowl, and so we are about to bring in the flavor. Let's grab those onions. Let's go ahead and dice them up, remembering to save the ends and the peels for your veggie stock. All right, y'all. So you know that I'm pretty heavy-handed when it comes to the onions and the garlic. I can now tell that I'm going to need a bigger bowl. Now, in the recipe cards that I send you, I am much more conservative with the onion and garlic and ingredients that I share with you. But like Luther Vandross says, when it comes to onions and garlic, I'm like, never too much, never too much. Now it's time to add the garlic, and we can't make the onions jealous. All right, y'all, I'm bringing back the bowl that we just used because I just put it in the sink full of soapy water. You know how I do. I will quickly wash something and then use it again because we don't want to have dishes all over the place. All right, so we're going to grab your zucchini and then just cut off the ends. Toss them in the scrap bin. And we're going to go ahead and grate our zucchini. All right, that was one. Let's get to our second zucchini. Okay, so I'm just going to stop at like half of that one. This one was a little bit fatter. I'm just going to go ahead and add our zucchini to the meat mixture. Now, zucchini is, again, like 97% water. So what we're going to do before we add this, because we're about to make patties, is just give it a really good squeeze in between your hands to drain off some of that water. Again, you want to do this step just with clean hands. And then we're going to add this to our meat mixture. Now, don't you toss this zucchini juice, because what you can actually do is make a zucchini juice tonic. I'm just going to go ahead. That little bit can still go in there. Yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and tuck this in the fridge for now because I'm going to be working with zucchini over the next couple of weeks. But what I love to do, and this is so refreshing during the summertime, is to just combine this with a little bit of ginger and lemon, like fresh ginger and lemon. And it's going to create this really invigorating, immune boosting drink. And then what I'll do when I get like a pint of it is that you can either enjoy it as like just a little health shot in the morning, or you can, water it down or add or make ice cubes out of it. That's a good one too. And this is all the little custom stuff that you see at the health food stores that have an insane markup on them. But one of the reasons that I just love cooking like this and using whole foods is that you automatically have all of these byproducts. Okay, this goes back in the sink. Grab our meat. And now that we have our dried zucchini, let's go ahead and mix this in. And this is a great way, y'all, to eat your zucchini, especially if you have maybe kids that just haven't taken to the taste of, grilled or diced zucchini. They are going to love this recipe. All right, see, here's what we've got so far. You and I know that there's zucchini in there, but no one's going to give you grief over that. All right, now it's time to grab some herbs. You might be headed for the cabinet, but I'm going to the garden. All right, friends, I'm not sure if I've given you a tour of the August garden yet, but things are still doing so well. I am going to be drowning in tomatoes very soon. This is my herb planter that we're about to harvest from. Yeah, more tomatoes over here, tomatoes there, tomatoes there. Hey, Thor. So I definitely want to use some parsley. And I've got some oregano. I've got tons of basil spread out throughout the garden, but I definitely need to trim her down. Plus, basil is excellent in this recipe. Oh, yeah. Ooh, I've got rosemary too. And in this planter tucked in the corner, I have some green onions. And these are just green onions that I get from the grocery store since they're attached with the roots. I get them in the spring and then they just grow like crazy. Jeez. Because I have so much sage that is doing amazing, we'll add some of that too. Got another pocket of rosemary here. I thought I had some oregano on here too. Yeah, here's the oregano hiding from me. And I've still got some parsley. I thought that I had harvested all of you. Oh my word, y'all. I don't even know what this handful, now this is a handful, right? I'm not talking about the portions that they give you in those little containers at the grocery store that are like $3 each. But y'all, these are cut and come again herbs that are fresh and potent and are just going to be the game changer when it comes to this recipe. Now, if you're using dried, you're just going to use a little less, but I have sage, green onions, I have rosemary, parsley, oregano, basil. Yeah, I think that's everybody. All right, so all I'm going to do right now is just remove the stems if they're a little bit too kind of fibrous. It's later in the season, so I'm just going to go ahead and add my sage stems to the veggie stockpile. And I'll also do the same thing for like the rosemary, right? Like I will, after I remove the leaves, I'm just going to keep the stems in my stockpile scrap bin. But yeah, we're just going to ball things up and do a little chiffon chop, I think that's what you call it. Y'all, I'm a home chef, okay? This does not need to be perfect, but oh, it will be just as tasty. Oh my goodness, this is infusing so much flavor. And kind of like ball it up again. All right, herbs, it's time for you to join the party. And the second incoming of herbs. Man, that looks and smells good. But before we proceed, let's go ahead and do a battle station check. We have our hot soapy water, but again, this sink is not full of dishes. I have my scrap bin. I have this little makeshift thing. This is what I'm setting my camera on. My coffee cup, and we still have our fridge bin out. But y'all, the kitchen is not crazy. All right, stay with me because we're about to make the base and meal one simultaneously. Okay, so you're going to need to grab your bowl. And as a final measure of flavor, we're going to add a good portion of sea salt along with some black pepper. Mix that in. And then we're going to siphon off some of this meat so that we can make our burgers. Now, at either one of these steps, friends, if you wanted to go ahead and stretch your meat, you can add cooked lentils or quinoa, or even fold in some finely chopped mushrooms, or even some cauliflowered rice or chopped walnuts. And I really want to bring you in so that you can look at this meat mixture. Because this is a recipe that I have made quite often, I know the look that I'm going for. And this is the density of like the onions and the herbs that I really appreciate, that I think gives the most amount of flavor. And so to this, we're going to go ahead and add some crumbled feta. All right, so some of y'all are about to be too through with me, but you won't be surprised. So to help make these burgers, I think I've had this now for 2 or 3 summers. Maybe it's going on my third summer. But I found this little, I kept the box for the longest while. Oh, here it is. Okay, it's by Progressive. But y'all, you know where I got this from. Yep, I got it from the thrift store. And this is not on Amazon. Like I checked because I love this thing so much. But there are like little variations of this thing. I got it for like $3. But what I love about this kit is that you can make your burgers in advance and they stay like stacked and organized. It has the little like burger dimple in here for you. But that's what we're going to go ahead and do now. And see, here's the little burger dimple that I was talking about, which yes, you do need, because if you don't dimple your burgers, you're going to have like a little meat volcano and it'll just be cooked on the outside, but then raw in the middle. But you can absolutely just use your thumb or the back of a spoon and press down on your burgers about 1/4 of an inch deep. So yeah, this is pretty cool. It gives you a size of like, the different thicknesses of your meat. But I just like this because you can scoop it, and y'all, these are going to have so much flavor, but you just scoop it in here, right? And then you add it to your container. Spread it out just like a little bit. Then you take this little thing and it ensures that like your patty is just flat and even. Isn't that cool? Yeah, so we're just going to repeat those steps. All right, I need you to track a few things. We're going to take our pre-made burgers and pop these in the fridge. Now in this bowl, this is what I had left over from estimating my burgers. I'm now going to go ahead and take the rest of the meat and I'm going to siphon off a little bit more to make my meatballs. And now take this pot of meat, put it on the stove and turn your burner on medium. And while that's heating up, we're going to roll out your meatballs. So you're going to need to add a binder like some eggs or maybe even some almond flour. And usually you want to add like 1 egg per pound of meat. All right, now let's shape your meatballs. Just doing it this way so I can keep, this is my clean hand. This is what's touching the raw meat. All right, these are the meatballs. Let's go ahead and place these in the fridge for a couple of minutes to set. So y'all know that my roaster stays here on my countertop all year long, but you can also use your crock pot. Let's go ahead and turn that on. And we're gonna add a spoonful, 2 or 3 of some bacon drippings. All right, let's head back over to the stove to check on our meat, which is looking and smelling amazing. All right, y'all, this is done. So we're just gonna slide this over to this burner, which is off. But then grab a pan and place that on the burner that's still on. Now our meat base for the week is cooling, but it is done. So grab those hamburgers we just made. Ta-da! All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and cook up 2 of our burgers. See, oh, I just love how easy this thing makes it. And while the burgers are cooking up, let's go ahead and make our dill sauce. So grab that bowl of yogurt. Then you just need a small bowl, your cucumber, and a grater, and grate up some of your cucumber. All right, y'all, so I have just washed my hands, but the cucumber is, again, extremely moist, and so we are going to have to just wring it out, but we're going to add our cucumber to this dip. So you can just take your hands, and we're going to squeeze that out. Yep, add it on top. Oh, friends, you know me so well. Absolutely. Save that cucumber juice. It is high in antioxidants and wonderful for your skin. Let's flip these hamburgers. All right, back to our mixture. We're going to add some garlic. Okay, and I'm just trying very careful to make sure that I can mix everything in this bowl. Then you're going to want to go ahead and add ample amounts of dill. I don't have any more fresh growing in the garden, but this will taste just as good. I mean, I am a dill fiend, so I'm going to heap it on. All right, y'all, so I just headed out to the garden to get a little bit of mint and lemon balm. All right, we'll add these herbs as well. Oh my goodness, this is going to be so potent. Wow, that lemon balm smells amazing. Then you do just want to go ahead and hit things with a little bit of salt. That's going to bring all those flavors out. Wow. You made this right at home. You could have bought it. But no, you made it from pantry staples and your garden. All right, the burgers are ready, so I'm just gonna scoop them here on a plate. And then we're gonna continue to soak up all this flavor, so I'm gonna add a little pat of butter in the pan, which gives me just enough time to add the meatballs to the roaster. Now, if you're keeping it keto, you can use the lettuce wraps that we have in the other meal bins, but I am going to go ahead and use some hamburger buns. And just butter those up really quickly. And I just grabbed these while I was at Aldi earlier this week. And while the buns are over here doing their thing, let's go ahead and scoop our meat into our reusable bag since it has cooled down. Oh my goodness. I love already having our seasoned meat ready. Oh, this is delicious. It's assembly time, my friend. So what we're going to go ahead and do is you're going to take your buttered bun, and then we're just going to go ahead and dollop our creamy dill sauce on the bottom. Yo, this sauce is delicious. And to this, we layer on the patty. Oh. Then I'm going to go ahead and add some crispy romaine. Let me set this down and get our top. Yes, we're going to do the same thing all over again. Do you see what you just made? This, my friend, is an artisanal burger. At a restaurant, this paired with some fries and a drink will easily set you back by 20 bucks. Now, I've got to tell you something. This is not a meal that needs to be eaten with dignity. You're going to stack it high, you're going to grab 2 napkins and enjoy. Like, oh my goodness, you already know how delicious this is. Oh, we got that soft buttered bun. We have the crisp lettuce. This tzatziki dill sauce is just an explosion of flavor. These patties are just so robust. I mean, they taste like the garden, still wrapped in meat. Y'all, like this is just... See, meals like this is why I can't go out to eat. I mean, this is delicious. Wow. Oh, yeah. So my husband is a sauce guy, but whenever I make these burgers, like this is it. He just leaves it alone. They're that good. So see, friends, that is meal 1 done. You just put a delicious protein-packed meal on the table, and you still have enough meat mix for 4 more meals. Your base recipe is done, and we're about to turn that into a skillet dinner. And don't forget about meal 3's meatballs over there. But I'll be right back. I gotta get these to the table. All right, Rob. So we've got the burger. Let's go for the taste test. What are the initial impressions? Smell and sight.
Smells like a kind of like a creamy or something.
Okay, all right.
There's a lot going on here with the onions and the it's a lot going on in here.
Okay, sounds good.
A lot of good going on.
A lot of good going on. Excellent. All right. Doesn't it taste like it's an artisanal burger? Like one of those fancy burgers that you would get from like Red Robin?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Thor says hi, and let's go ahead and grab meal bin too. Now, y'all know that I'm a creature of habit, so before I left to go eat, I did the same thing that I always do. Turn the burner on the stove, and I started boiling some water. So for both pans, I'm going to go ahead and just salt the water, and we're going to need to grab that bag of pasta. Now, if you're keto, you can use the Hearts of Palm pasta that I've talked about a lot, but this week I'm just using this. And then if you're gluten-free, you can also use brown rice or chickpea or lentil pasta. I mean, those are easy swaps. And then I'm going to grab the skillet we've been using all day. The pan's a little dry, so I'm just going to hit it with a little bit of tallow. And let's go ahead and dice up that zucchini from our last meal. And go ahead and saute them. Open up that can of tomato paste. All right, we're going to add the tomato paste until the zucchinis kind of start to soften and the paste starts to, I don't know, wake up. I guess that's what you would call it. All right, the pasta is looking good, so we're going to go ahead and quickly drain it and add it to this pan. And to this, you're either going to add your cream cheese or your sour cream. This is where it goes from skillet dinner to creamy comfort bowl. Now go ahead and spoon in some of your pasta water to thin it out a bit. Ta-da! Pasta. Now let's go ahead and add in a couple of spoonfuls of our meat mixture. Perfect. Three's enough. I mean, friends, do you see this? Now, this is what I call sneaky comfort food. It is loaded with herbs and veggies and protein, but still tastes like something that you're going to crave after a long day. And this comes together faster than you can say box dinner who. Hamburger helper, I don't need you. No, you can absolutely leave this as is, but this could also be an opportunity for you to add in different things just to kind of like spin it. So I'm trying to remember again because I riff a lot. I know what the base needs to be, and then from there I'm like, oh, I can dress it up this way. So there have been times where I will then add in like chili powder to make this more of like, like chili vibes. Maybe I'll also like throw in some beans if I'm using, like less noodles, like that kind of thing. But this time I'm going to go ahead and add in some whole canned mushrooms that I canned. Well, this was from 2 years ago. This is just from last year. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that. And these are canned in bone broth. Mm. Oh, that smells so good. All right, let me show y'all because I know not everyone is canning yet. So these are just like mushrooms that I got from the grocery store when they're in season. Oh, there we go. Okay, it's focusing now. I mean, and they're like fully cooked. They're ready to go. Mmm, they're gonna be perfect. I mean, I'll add mushrooms to anything. I'm just gonna pour slow, but this added broth will just thin things out, which is fine because this is already super creamy. We'll add the mushrooms. And then broth is truly liquid gold in here, but I don't need to add any more. So I'm going to pour this off to use either later on in the week. But I do want to go ahead and add those mushrooms now. Oh, yeah. Yes, yes. Here we go. Yep. It needed mushrooms. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, in my house, this is going to be a hit, right? But it might be something else that you want to go ahead and add in your house. And that exactly is the point, my dear. Oh, yeah. There it is. All right, so I'm going to tell you what this is giving. This is giving spaghetti night, but elevated vibes because you have such a savory meat mixture that's already in here. It's still loaded with veggies. This sauce is creamy and decadent. I mean, this sauce tastes like it's been simmering all day when really it's just been a couple of minutes. Mmm. You have the fresh herb taste that's just punching through. Wow. Oh, it's perfect. This is so good. This is such a nice, like, fresh tasting pasta. It's so good. You didn't need a jar of spaghetti sauce or marinara or salsa, just tomato paste and cream cheese. And then you already have the work of the seasonings that you leveraged with the meat still working for you. Mmm, this is really good. This also freezes really well. And this sauce is so good. Like, it tastes like it has been simmering on the stove for like, I don't know, an hour or something, but this came together in like 5 minutes. So yeah, what I do is just take this pan, place it in the center of the table. We have our bowls and we just eat. And this is delish. All right, friends. So let's check and see that our meatballs have firmed up a bit. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, they're looking and smelling good. Yeah, so for this recipe, you just want to make sure that the meatballs have firmed up and they set, especially before like we go and add the sauce. These are the peppers. I need my peaches. All right, so let's go ahead, grab your peaches, and we're just going to dice them up. And yes, I'm leaving the skins on. All right, so we've cut up our beautiful peaches, and now we are just going to pour in our broth. Now remember, this can be chicken broth, this can be vegetable, ham, whatever you've got. Yeah, see, I'm going to go ahead and fold in the rest of the mushroom broth that I have. It's going to work. You just need something that's savory, right? And then next you're going to add in some rosemary. just gonna rough chop this as well. And then after that, we're just gonna add a splash of balsamic vinegar. And this is just gonna anchor and balance out all the flavors that we have going on. It just ties everything together nicely. And lastly, you're gonna fold in about a half cup of the sweetener of your choice. I'm using honey. You don't need to use like your raw extra good honey because we are heating this up, which evaporates some of those good enzymes. Just mix this together and then we're gonna pour this over top of our meatballs. Looks good enough to eat already. And you're just gonna want this to simmer on low for 4 hours or on high for about 4. I mean, you know your crock pot. Now, the last thing that you're gonna need to prep for that recipe will be slicing the peppers. So let's just go ahead and take care of that now. All right, friends, so I'm just gonna take our peppers, and again, they're already gonna be sliced here. I'm gonna put them on this plate, stick them in the fridge because in a couple hours when our crock pot meal's done, this will be ready. Now you could use pasta for the recipe that we're making now, but I'm not going to because I've already been pretty heavy on the carbs in some of the other recipes. Okay, I'm gonna take these to the fridge. I hope that you saved those peach pits because we're about to turn these into a peach infused vinegar. And I am telling you, this easy recipe is perfect for salad dressings or deglazing pans, marinades, shrubs, cocktail mixes, even a hair rinse if you're feeling homestead glamorous. And this is super easy. So you just want to take a jar and fill it about 3/4 full. In our next recipe, I'm going to have some more pits to add, so I'll be there. And then you are just going to take some apple cider vinegar, or you can just use plain white vinegar as well. But you're going to cover the peaches. And you want to make sure that, I mean, you can get a little skin on the peaches, but not too much. And you can also just add a little bit of honey if you want to make things a little fruitier or sweeter. And then to make sure that your contents stay submerged below the brine, you're just going to add a fermentation weight. So I'm going to drop that in there. Then I'm just going to cap it. These are just some lids that I really like because they automatically do like the burping for you. And what you're going to do is just let this infuse for like 2 to 4 weeks, and then you'll just strain and bottle it. I'm telling you, you are going to roll through this meal sequence. So let's go ahead and grab meal bin 3. Now to your pan, you're going to go ahead and add some of your meat mixture. All right, so I'm going to use just right at about half of what we've got left. Then grab those peaches. Let's go ahead and we're just going to dice up these peaches. And again, we're going to add these pits to our vinegar here. All right, let's add the peaches to the pan. Oh, this is going to be so good. If you have any extra squash, let's go ahead and add them now. Your scrap bin should be looking pretty delicious by now. Slide in that zucchini. I just love cooked zucchini in dishes. I really do, especially when it's like chopped like this. You get that texture, that bite. And we're going to season things up with these 3. First up, a little smoked paprika, and then some cumin. I'm telling you, this combination works so well. And then some chili powder. All right, let's go ahead and incorporate that flavor by giving things a good mix. And then if you're using, go ahead and add your black beans. And the farm girls over here for July's meal sequence already know why I'm telling you to save your bean juice and what to do with it. Oh yeah, you can't beat those Tex-Mex flavors. And just like that, we're done. All that's left is to squeeze in some lime juice. And now we're going to grab our lettuce because this is what we're going to serve it in. But you could also serve this over rice or even over a bed of chopped cabbage or tortilla chips for a little crunch. So let me show you how this is done. You're just going to take your lettuce wraps and then you're going to have this savory filling. And I love this because it's both hearty, but then again, it just is bursting with all these summer flavors. And then to this, you can just add a dollop of your sour cream. Now tell me that this isn't a patio or deck dinner, y'all. And then if you like it, you can also add some cilantro or again, whatever your fillings are. It's like some crushed chips on top of this would also be just really nice. But then just wrap it up. Mmm. Again, awesome flavors. Those bits of peaches, like you don't even automatically think like, oh, peach. It's just this nice, like this sweetness against like the undertones of like those deeper flavors, like with the cumin and the smoked paprika. And it's so complimentary. I mean, y'all, this is delicious. Mmm. Yeah. If this is our first time meeting, hi, I'm Cassandra from the blog becomingafarmgirl.com, and I'm here to help you cook with what's in season, on sale, and better yet, already on your shelf. And to be clear, I am not a food blogger. I'm just a girl with a farm dream and a full calendar. I live in that in-between, chasing a farm fresh life while cooking dinner in a real life kitchen. Hey y'all, so it is much later in the evening, but I wanted to come back because our peach meal in the roaster is almost finished. So I wanted to go ahead and just saute our peppers. All right, friends, here is a look at our beautiful meatballs and our peach sauce. Oh, this is gonna be so good. I mean, what more could you want from a summertime dish? This is filling, it's keto. You've got all these savory flavors going on here. All right, let's go ahead and scoop up some of that broth. And this broth with the balsamic and the sweetness and the rosemary, it's just a classic combination. Oh. So I'm not eating this all tonight. I will take the tiniest little taste test because it's late. But I'm just going to transfer this into thermoses, and this is going to be what is for my lunch for the work week. All right, let's get a little bit of meatballs. These meatballs, oh my goodness, you know they're so delicious. All right, all right, here we go, y'all. Mm. Mm. It's so nice. Again, it's filling, but still like light because of the peppers. And then those surprise bits of like the peaches that are in there. So good. So good. It doesn't scream peach flavor. It's just a little bit of a like the sweetness, which pairs well with the bell peppers and the meat. So yeah, you're gonna love this one too. Now, what has felt like probably 5 seconds to you has been 5 whole days for me this side of the camera. That's right, it is Thursday and I haven't cooked since Saturday. Cooked, but I have been canning. And that's what I really love about these meal sequences, especially during the summertime, because it is the only way that I can manage to do both. And for tonight's meal, you can completely skip the appliances because we're not turning anything on, not the stove, not the crock pot. That's right, you just need your cutting board and your serving bowls. August, I am not here to play games with you. Oh, and your meal bin. I mean, you could absolutely heat this up, but what we're making are deconstructed Greek bowls, which I know you saw that coming. And so you do not have to warm up your meat. You absolutely could. But I actually, during the summer, I find this refreshing. So it was sometime last summer when I was visiting my parents, and we ate at this place that was called Kava. It's like the competitor to Chipotle, but yeah, like more like Greek food, I guess. And we were going through like the little line, and that was the first time that I had like cold meat with whatever kind of like salad bowl that I got. And I was like, huh, it works. It really does work. Okay, so this is going to be my husband's bowl. This is mine. And I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to take the kale And we're just going to go ahead and add that to our bowl to create a nice little base layer there. Now remember that your greens are your nutrient powerhouses. We've got iron, magnesium, calcium, and even chlorophyll. But then to add just a little bit more hydration, I have one of these left. I'm going to go ahead and chop up the lettuce. And I like doing that sometimes with a green kind of base. And so I'm just going to layer that on top. All of this is going to get mixed together by the time we have our dressing. All right. And then next we're going to add the cucumbers that we have. Oh no, these are zucchini. It works and it doesn't matter. From the week. Now I am going to try to like food style this as best as I can. I am not a food blogger. Okay. I'll do a little bit and then I just lose my patience. All right, so I think I'll do a little like, a little roundabout there. Oops, let me move that stuff away. I'm also going to go ahead and just add some of the diced onions that we had left over from the meal base. And I will always have chopped or diced onions like ready to go. So please know that anything that is potentially not used in this meal sequence, I don't know if you've kind of like noticed it, but if you've been following my summer meal sequences, y'all, a lot of the base ingredients remained the same, right? My energy and thought is going into all the other things that are happening and like canning and the garden and all of that. And so, like, this sour cream has been used in the past 3 meal sequences. The cream cheese, all this other kind of stuff, right? And so maybe I'll pickle them or saute them. And so I just want you to think in terms of like nothing here is going to waste. Okay, so we just added some onion. Oh, tomatoes. Tomatoes. So let's go ahead and, all right, I got to mix here some of my cherry tomatoes from the garden and then my Roma tomatoes. So I don't know, you might get a little chuckle out of this. So I love tomatoes. Oh, let me like switch up the colors. So I would just eat these like this, like the cherry tomatoes like that. But my husband, he will eat tomatoes and he likes tomato-based products. But I got to dice them up. I just, I do. Yeah. Oh, goodness. The things we do for the folks we love and cook for. All right, there we go. But then, if I were making this salad for my mom, she would want the slices or her tomatoes to be in like these thick slices. So, how do you like your tomatoes? All right, so this is the rest of the meat that we're working with, which is still going to be plenty for tonight's dinner because the meat is it's lending flavor. It's not like the mainstay. And again, oh my goodness, this bag just smells so good. Yeah, we're just gonna add like a couple spoonfuls on here. And then next we're gonna go ahead and add our olives. And I know, olives are kind of like an acquired taste. I actually didn't start enjoying them until maybe just a couple of years ago now. But oh my goodness, like now I just love them. And be sure when you can to get them packed in just like water or vinegar because there are lots of questionable oils that sometimes they're packed in. But oh my goodness, these are really going to tie in those Mediterranean flavors that we're looking for. Drats, you know what, friends? I might have spoke too soon because you may want to toast your pita bread like in the skillet with some butter. Oh yeah, that would be so good. Now, if I was just eating dinner by myself, I wouldn't even bother. I mean, yes, it is delicious, but I wouldn't. But I know that Trey is going to prefer his in the skillet with some butter. So I'll go ahead and get ready to do that. Just after this, let me go ahead and finish making the bowls for you. But essentially then, after I, butter these, you just want to, and so he would probably eat like 2 of these, and he does a combination of like, making it into like another little pita, or just like me, I'll like take a couple of bites and like eat some bread, a couple more bites. It just adds to like, the satiation factor here. Um, Hold on, let me style it for you. Look at this beautiful bowl. Y'all, oh my goodness. Us home cooks look legit. These bowls, which I would dare say that the serving size that you get when you go to, like a kava or a place like that, they're $14 as their cheapest bowl, y'all. And it's just crazy. And so up next, what we're going to do is you're going to go ahead and remember the sauce that we used on the burgers, where you're going to go ahead and grab that. But here's what you can do to give it like another spin. This is perfect all on its own. You don't need to add anything, don't take anything away. But if you have other condiments in, your fridge that you need to use up, fold them into this. So if you want things to be like a little bit spicier, go ahead and like throw in some hot sauce. If you had, guac, go ahead and throw that in. I actually do have a jar of this harissa. I think that's how you pronounce it. The Moroccan red pepper sauce. This is really good. I got this at Trader Joe's. So I'm just gonna go ahead and like stir a little bit of this into here. It's just a subtle, quick, effortless way to give things a new spin. But you know what I wish I had on hand, which is super easy. So I just need to go ahead and do this is I wish I had some pickled onions. I mean, that kind of like tanginess might need to add a little bit more. That tanginess would work really well in this recipe. And so, yeah, so now we have a brand new sauce. And then I'm just going to dollop this like right in the center. And dinner is done. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So this sauce is done. And you know what I also have tried before that I really love is mixing in some tahini with this. Again, I love the fact that I have, like, this is how I cook because I can just make one or two, like, little changes and you just feel like it's new. And so, yeah, let's go ahead. I was going to say something. Oh, yeah, yeah. So this is also perfect for, like, your lunch during the work week as well. It comes together super easy. You can pack it as, like, a bento style kind of lunch and then just, like, assemble it while you're at work. But, yeah, let's go ahead and crown these salads with some dressing. And again, all these fresh herbs in this dressing, it is amazing. I'm going to need a little bit more. Yeah, we're going to really go for the creamy factor here. Dollop in the center. Sorry, guys, it's not perfect, but it's delish. All right. Oh, yeah. Yes. All right, friends, that is it. Now, do you want to watch me clean up my mess? All right, so we're just going to go ahead and put the lid back on here. Grab the bin. Put this back. Put our zucchini back. This will be Trey's fork. Put this lid on here. In the bin. Pitas. The meat. And then my olives are back here. Go ahead and slide those right here. This is it. This is it, people. Dinner is done. Dinner is clean. And I love this meal sequence, especially in August, which is when I head back to work full time since I'm a teacher. And so, like, there's going to be like the first couple of weeks of the school year. Well, one, we go back like a week and a half before the kids do, but it's like setting up your classroom and professional development, and your days are just long. And so, knowing that when I come home, that maybe for that entire week I was only in the kitchen twice, and I still am trying to be ambitious with my canning, which really doesn't take a little bit of a drop until like early October, and then I move into like my winter canning. Y'all know that I can all year, but it's just there's a lot coming in during the summer. And so that's why I'm thankful that I can put quick, delicious meals together that are satisfying and are not going to break the bank. All right, so here is my bowl. Let me set this down. I am working with a lot over here. Again, this meal is just super hydrating. It's crunchy. You have all these textures that are coming through. It is filling. It's colorful. It's healthy, but it's also like really savory. There's so much going on your fork. I'm like trying to get it all. So that harissa hot sauce is really adding a nice like kick to things in the background. I mean, you really just have like you really just have fun eating something like this. And so the humidity has dropped just a little bit because we did get some rain earlier, so we might eat out back tonight. And this will be just like the perfect meal. But y'all, this is so good. I cannot wait for you to give this a try. Okay, so let's take a step back and look at what you and I just walked through together. You've just seen how quickly you can get meals on the table that are real food, big flavor, and no stress. Sister girl, this meal sequence is designed to respect your life right now, not some idyllic version where you have unlimited time and ingredients. I think I've already said this, but the month of August can be a very busy time. You're starting to have maybe kids that are going back to school, you're harvesting from your garden, or you're canning things that you're picking up at the grocery store. You've still got family events or cookouts, last minute road trips. And then some of us are starting our seeds for our fall garden. I mean, August is a very transitional time, which is why this meal sequence works. And remember that this isn't about a set menu. It's about giving you a framework that works with what you already have and the taste your family loves. And remember that the free download that comes with this video gives you the base recipe that we used here today. But if you're thinking, Cassandra, I need the full dinner sequence laid out for me every week, and can I also get breakfast and lunch too? I've gotcha. There's a link below where you can sign up to get full meal sequences like this delivered directly to your inbox each week. It's called the Dinner's Done Dispatch, and it's built to help you show up for your table without burning out. Like, you can do this. You can cook for your family most nights of the week, and you don't even need to be perfect. You just need a better system that is rooted in reality and not some rooftop ideal. And that rooftop is what Grandma called Sunday dinner. That's not Monday through Saturday. Anyways, thanks for cooking with me. To get more kitchen inspiration, click the video on your screen. I'll see you in my kitchen or garden soon. Take care, friends.